There's been a major development over at Bethesda and Xbox, and it even involves Obsidian. So why am I making this video? It's like a week late and everybody's already published a spin on it. Well, you haven't heard mine, so here you go. I believe that things are not going the way you think they're going.
What? But you can't do this to me.
You know how much I sacrificed?
I don't think that Todd Howard is unhappy about this. I actually believe they're extremely happy with the results of this change. And here's what I mean. In January 2026, Kotaku interviewed a big Bethesda veteran who had actually left Bethesda in 2023. I'm sure you already heard about this. This is the guy who was supposed to be the game director on The Elder Scrolls 6, but he was angry that he wasn't picked and that they were working on other games instead of The Elder Scrolls 6, so he just left in 2023. Well, in his interview in 2026 to Kotaku, he said, and remember, Kurt had worked on every Bethesda project after the Elder Scrolls Arena, somebody you should definitely listen to. He said that as the studio grew massively, decision-making slowed down. Things had to go through more layers of management, and senior developers found themselves spending more time managing people and processes instead of actually making content. Quick, direct conversations became harder, and communication started breaking down, especially during Starfield's development. The reason for that is because if you as a developer wanted to add a new feature, a new object, a follower, or a quest to the game, you first had to get it approved by like 4 or 5 managers that had probably nothing to do with the game's development. They just had to give their go to it, and nobody wanted to do it if it was a feature they were scared would eventually create controversy. So what I mean by that is things like the Dragon Priest masks, which, for example, did you know they were added in secret by a single developer who insisted on having them in the game. This is what Coleman describes as bureaucracy. And it's only natural that it trickled down to Bethesda from Microsoft, right? We're talking about a $1 trillion company with a massive amount of employees. But Bethesda didn't become kings of RPGs by doing this, right? Like, they became kings of RPGs by doing closely knit development, and that was simply not there for games like Starfield. Now, Starfield did come out and it was a mixed bag. Some people loved it, but a lot of the core fan base felt it was missing that old Bethesda magic. Around that time, there were reports that even Todd Howard himself was feeling the weight of everything and probably considering stepping back more. I mean, we weren't hearing anything new from these guys for a while. Then in early 2026, Phil Spencer retires and Asha Sharma takes over as CEO of Xbox, and you guys had a lot of fun painting Todd Howard as this guy who didn't want to work.
Choleric varmints, ain't they?
Dysfunctional family. Need intervention.
Who Asha has to basically, kick into action. Well, in July, she did announce one of the biggest restructurings in Xbox history. Thousands of cuts and a clear shift towards focusing resources on core games instead of spreading things too thin. I think that's smart. While we don't have every internal detail yet, the direction she's pushing includes streamlining operations and giving more direct focus to key projects like Fallout 5 and The Elder Scrolls 6. That's projects people want to play, want to buy too.
Hey, finally!
That's what we've been waiting for!
They seem to like it when I put this patty on the grill. I may be able to save this act yet. Roll with it, SpongeBob. Roll with it. There's more where that came from, folks.
Yeah!
You like that?
It's what we wanted all along!
Some are seeing this as a potential return to a more focused, less bloated way of working. Todd Howard, however, has remained the central creative figure at Bethesda throughout all of this, with the studio potentially getting more streamlined support again. What this means is that they're getting a direct line of communication with the CEO herself. Instead of having to go through 4 or 5 people, now Todd can just directly go to Asha and say, hey, we want this in the game, and she'll be like, oh, okay, go ahead. There's real hope that we could see a more ambitious, less compromised version of Bethesda going forward, especially with The Elder Scrolls 6 now in full production. Todd realizes something here. Bethesda might actually be back. Now sure, Bethesda did make their own mistakes before. I'm thinking about a lot of stuff that I don't want to be spending a lot of time on, but Fallout 76, in my opinion, is when, it wasn't the best moment for Bethesda. And that's where it really started, and they weren't under Xbox's umbrella back then. but I digress. I think Todd might have actually been protecting the Elder Scrolls from failure by pushing it indefinitely like that. Think about it. Todd was probably worried it would turn into another Starfield scenario. I don't mean that Starfield is a bad, terrible game. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it wasn't what Todd wanted. This is his passion project. Todd has been trying to make Starfield since the 90s. Do you really think that he'd be content with making a sterile game with no risk taking and, you know what I mean? Like, and it must have been terrible to work on a game for so long, only to end up with a product that's badly received, let's be honest. Now Bethesda is in full production of the Elder Scrolls 6. They're even using the Creation Kit 3, and pre-production has begun on Fallout 5, with Obsidian being called over to assist with creating what is apparently New Vegas 2. There's also remasters for Fallout 3 and New Vegas remastered coming along soon, so. But first I wanted to yap about a certain topic here, which is Creation Kit 3. Now, a lot of people, when they heard that, they were like, oh no, these games are gonna look in a certain way, even though everyone else is doing like modern games that look really good. Creation Kit 3 is gonna heavily limit Bethesda. Well, I personally believe that if you've been paying attention, you'd probably have guessed that Creation Kit 3 will not be as limited visually as the previous ones, and here's why. Just look at Oblivion Remastered. That's your answer. The future of Creation Kit is going to be a mix of developing the actual code in the game through Creation Kit and then slapping Unreal Engine on top of that for the visuals. And before you tell me, wait, Brator, that's not really a good idea. I mean, have you seen how Oblivion doesn't really run well, and Unreal Engine and all that? Well, I can tell you that Unreal Engine, starting from 5.6, has actually fixed a ton of issues, and you know who's to thank for all that? CD Projekt Red. They brought a lot of knowledge from CDPR to Unreal Engine, and that's all thanks to the RedKit engine that they worked on. So all the issues you used to have with Unreal Engine, they're slowly getting to disappear.
UE5, your awesome team at CD Projekt Red announced a collaboration to make open world development in Unreal even better.
That's right, I got receipts for what I'm talking about, so hear me out here. I'm very serious about this. I do have faith that Creation Kit 3 might actually be it, and I do believe that Elder Scrolls 6 will look really good. I have faith that maybe Todd Howard really is happy about this whole situation, and, well, just look at this, right? The Witcher 4, the demo they've shown recently, it looks freaking fantastic. Why wouldn't Todd look at this and go, why don't we just go and do exactly that? Just use the Creation Kit and Unreal Engine. Our engineers, their engineers, will work together and cook up something good for the Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 and every other game they'll make afterwards. It's smart, isn't it?
Yeah, and wild nature is hard. And with nanite geometry, we've freed artists from so many of their old constraints. But we don't want to rest until everything we do in Unreal has that same spirit of freedom.
I don't know, are you hopeful for the Elder Scrolls 6 after this video? What did you think about these changes? Let me know in the comments. Please hit the subscribe button and I'll try to answer each and every one of you. Take care.